Hello Aquarius, and welcome back to Mind, Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for March 2020. I hope you're well, Aquarius. We have an important shift that's going to affect you this month. On the 22nd, Saturn is moving into your sign. Eight of Swords is your current energy. And Saturn is the core ruler of Aquarius, so it's going to be interesting, let's put it this way. But it's also coming as a little bit of a pressure to look at the structures in your life. And, with a core ruler Uranus, which is still in Taurus, the structure may have to do a lot with your very physical reality and the way you're relating to that, and with your senses, with your body. So yeah, let's see how that goes. I wish you luck. Challenging is the Four of Swords. Okay. Ace of Swords. Wow. As your focus. It's quite a journey there, isn't it? Wheel of Fortune is your advice. Journey of the mind. Oh. That was quite a turn of these cards. So this is a general reading for Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising signs. If it resonates, it resonates. And if it doesn't, then it just doesn't. This showed up for Capricorn, but it was the current energy. So 5 of Wands as your underlying energy, the theme of this month for you. Now let's pull out the clarifier. This also showed up for this, and this showed up for, and this, Capricorn. I did shuffle them quite well, don't worry. It isn't that. It's just interesting. So 10 of Swords as your current energy with the 8 of Swords. Thank God for that. The Magician with the 4 Swords as your challenge. Page of Swords with the Ace of Swords. Nice. As your focus. The Hierophant. We were just talking about Taurus and Taurus energy. The Hierophant with the Wheel of Fortune as your advice. Yes. And the Page of Pentacles with the 8 of Cups as future energy. Temperance with the 5 of Wands as your underlying energy, the theme of this month, the theme of your reading. Okay, my dear Aquarius, so you may feel a little bit feisty, you may feel a little bit competitive this month. Temperance is telling you to tone it down a little bit, bring it down a notch. And remember what this is all about. You see, testing the water, look at your experience with curiosity. And it's not easy when you get caught by your mind that much. But that's what you're learning. That's what you're working with. You're mastering this, You're remembering that your heart is the real driver, or should be the real driver. And whenever the mind is masquerading as the master of this whole life experience that you're having, then things go south, because the mind is a good tool, but it's a good servant but a poor master. This is a quote, and I don't remember who said it. If you know, please feel free to comment or look it up. But it's a beautiful one, and I absolutely love it. It really stuck with me because I can relate to the whole thinking machine, think tank operation. And I need sometimes this reminder as well that, okay, wait, what's all this thought process that I find myself in, or on overanalysis, overthinking, Is this doing me any good? Is this solving anything, or is this making it worse? The temperance is like coming back at the, from bring curiosity. Be curious of what's really happening. Be curious when you find yourself like competitive and coming out a little bit, like, like you have to prove yourself to anyone else. Be curious, why is that? Oh wow, here I am today. Here I did it again. Instead of being maybe judgmental with yourself, like, oh, why am I showing off here? Be like, I think I just tried to show off. Wow. Why? Where is that coming from? Having that innate curiosity about your experience, and having, it's really important to know that you are safe to be kind with yourself. Don't think that if you just curious and kind and joyful with your experience, you're going to um, let yourself off the hook to do shitty stuff. No, we do shitty stuff when we're too tough on ourselves, because we need to dissociate and escape and things like this. So yeah, allow the challenge. This looks like a challenge, to whatever you feel triggered, or wherever you feel like you want to prove something to anyone. Be a guide for you to your heart's journey, coming back to self. Bring that part of you home and give it the recognition that it needs. After the five of wands, whoever the winner is here is going to go to the six of wands, where it's being recognized and celebrated for your bravery and your winning up this competition. It's really important to remember you have nothing to prove. And every time you're trying to prove something to other people, is that you're trying to prove it to yourself that it actually works. And yeah, it's easy to conceptualize that, but when it's really happening, it's harder to put it into practice. Current energy, Eight of Swords with the Ten of Swords. Yeah, Eight of Swords is that whole thing with being caught in the mind, into overthinking, analyzing. And Aquarius, just, this is a vulnerability of all the air signs. We can get trapped in this. Whether you have Aquarius moon, sun, or rising, it's a part of how you identify with yourself and how you perceive yourself. It's you tend to over rely on your mind. Maybe if your sun is in Aquarius, maybe even more clearly, more like this is kind of how you show up into the world. These are the skills that you rely on the way you relate to the world. If your moon is like a very internalized process, but it's still there. And if it's your rising, well, it's very hard for me to explain the rising, because there's too many preconceptions around. It's not only about how you perceive people perceive you, but it's also kind of how what you're integrating in your life, skills that you're integrating in your life as you're growing older. Anyhow, you have Ten of Swords here to go along with this Eight of Swords. So I think you're making the jump, and you're allowing this overthinking to a period to go to an end, but it doesn't feel great, right? It feels pretty dramatic here. And it is important to connect to the space of your heart space. Now, be curious about what is this all about. Swords energy. It can. I remember I was in a meditation retreat in Thailand in a monastery. It was my first hand experience with Theravada Buddhism and actual monks and stuff. I was trained already in a mindfulness center, so I had some intake on meditation and mindfulness, secular mindfulness, but also with a notch of spirituality. But just a teaspoon. It was very psychology oriented. And then when I went to the monastery, it was very different because it's very traditional, very culturally charged, of a different culture, Thai culture, whatever. Anyhow, the monk there, who was supposed to be an enlightened being, was revered in Thailand. I obviously immediately started having the conversation in my mind, like, okay, so you're enlightened, tell me about that. I did challenge him a little bit on that, but not in a mean way, more like, when we have, like, when you do silent meditation retreats, you have in some centers daily dialogues with a monk to tell you, kind of guide your meditation practice. In that temple, we only had like 2 meetings, group meetings in the whole retreat, so it was just 2 times. So it was interesting. It was a different type of meditation retreats. If you're familiar with that, it's not your typical one. Anyhow, my point was that I was starting to go into concentration mode, and it was fantastic. It was for the first time for me to experience concentration in that sense, and the monk was actually quite excited with me. I was like, wow, what's happening? Oh my God, look, I'm becoming aware of all this stuff, and I start feeling my energy. Wow, fantastic. And the monk was like, yeah, that really is fantastic. Wow, congratulations, you're quite fast. And then he was like, but be careful. The power of the mind, the power of thoughts is not to be underestimated. Because I was like, I've transcended the mind. Here I am going into full concentration mode. Yay. I liked that he brought that warning, because the next day it hit me. It literally hit me, like all the concentration way down to toilet, and all the thoughts and the darkest thoughts of them all came telling me how worthless I was, or how everything is for nothing because I'm already damaged, or whatever, like the darkest enemies. How do you say it? Like the darkest soldiers of the mind came to attack me, and it took me down quite a lot. And it was almost to dangerous levels. I almost didn't know how to cope with it. Okay, yes, I had some practices, and God, good I had those. I don't know how I would have made it out of that meditation retreat otherwise. It was loving kindness practice and having to practice with myself loving kindness that saved me. Because it really went dark. It really went quite dark, and I didn't expect that. I never experienced that before. So the power of the mind can be quite huge, and it's important to recognize it as the mind. It is really important to use whatever tools you have in moments like this, when you're completely blindfolded and you feel tied up and you feel caged, and also when you feel like the end is near, and recognize it as a process of the mind. Recognize it as a peeling off process of a skin that doesn't serve you anymore. It's a pattern that's been with you for a long time. It's probably that story that you're telling yourself that you're powerless, that you're not good enough, that you're whatever. How it plays out for you, you have your own flavor of it. We all have it in a way. We keep that hammer on top of our head and hit ourselves with, and most of the time we don't realize it's us doing it, but it is us doing it. Okay, we're perpetuating whatever we've learned, maybe in early childhood, either from family caretakers, school, or whatever. If we've been bullied and we felt powerless in our life, especially in our early stories, we internalize, and then we keep telling ourselves how powerless we are. I'm not saying this is the status quo for you. We all go there every once in a while, but again, for air signs, it's easier to get trapped in this the trap of the mind. Yeah. Okay, we'll go there. We'll go there of actual advice, but a reminder. Like for me, it was just coming back to the heart space. You know, in Theravada Buddhism, they don't do love and kindness practice, not much. It's all about it's very strict, what they call Orthodox Buddhism. They are most concerned with personal attainment. They don't do so much like in what's it called, Tibetan Buddhism or in Zen. They're much more focused on loving kindness practice. And funny enough, actually, just before I went to that particular temple, as I was leaving that mindfulness center, there was a nun that just drove me. We were driving together to a nearby town, well, in a taxi. But this nun was also a therapist, and I just I don't know how it came up that I'm going to do that retreat there. And she was like, "Oh my God, you're going to that temple? Have you even heard of it?" That's where I did a 1.5 year retreat. That the nun lady, well, she was American, actually. She was an American nun, so it was easier to relate in terms of culture. Yeah, and she was like, okay, yeah, well, that's good. It's a lovely place, so be well taken care of. But yeah, be careful. This type of Buddhism can be very cold. And Vipassana in general can be a very cool practice. Practice whatever you need. Sometimes you may be needing like love and kindness practice. Go there. And it was invaluable advice. Like at the time, I didn't know what the hell she was talking about. I was like, yeah, well, it's just I'm doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's Vipassana, right? Like I already did a smaller retreat, but in a mindfulness center. So in a secular mindfulness, Western mindfulness place. I thought I had it, but literally, like when the mind hit in that way, that advice was fucking invaluable. I don't even know if I remembered it in that time, because like the power of the mind was just like decimating. I think I did it instinctually initially, and then I realized, oh yeah, that nun warned me of this, and she gave me this advice. Maybe subconsciously I picked up on it and I applied it in that moment. And as I said, it was literally a lifesaver. And it was also for me a great experience to recognize the power of the mind and to realize how can I work with it. So I'm tremendously grateful for that experience, even though it was dark as fuck. Okay. Four of Swords and the Magician. I was trying to make this reading short, and I end up telling you stories of my life. Fantastic. Four of Swords with the Magician is your challenge. Yes, in moments like this, when we are like completely trapped in the mind, obviously it's challenging to meditate. It's challenging to keep the mind silent, to silence the mind. And when we silence the mind, we realize that we are powerful. The Magician is really powerful, right? And it's a major arcana. It's important. It's something that is vital that we're forgetting, that we have the knowledge of how to work with ourselves and how to work with the elements, how to work with all the energies of the universe and of our making. And we are planting our garden here, and it's something that the mind doesn't really get. Of course, like we get very practical sometimes. How on earth am I going to just doing some energy work or thinking that I'm more powerful is going to pay my bills or blah 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 blah, or I don't know, help me relate to a toxic environment, or to either my own behavior, or I don't know, family or friends or whatever, workplace toxicity. It's not easy when we are completely trapped in the mind. But remember, this is a Ten of Swords. So I think that this is a very fruitful time for you. Ten of Swords is an end of a pattern. It's done. It's going like it's finally ending. But in order to take this to an end and not get stuck in the 8 is calming down the mind, meditation, and coming back to that awareness that I am the architect of my own life somehow. Your mind will protest to this, fine, it's okay. Just letting go of the mind or calming down the mind doesn't mean not having any thoughts. It means not attaching to the thoughts and not taking them for real, not taking them for the absolute truth. It means let them come and let them go. Observe them, develop the observing mind. And that's where the real power stays, in not attaching to your mind stories. And you see with the Ace of Swords and Page of Swords, these are both like clarity cards. Ace of Swords is it's like, yeah, finally, eureka, I have the insight, I have the idea, it's the whole opening. But so is the Page of Swords. It's transformative, it's something that helps you grow, it like pulls away, it's this wind of change. The clouds are being pushed away, and there's only one sword, that of clarity. This is for the peeps and this is for the court cards, but it's the same thing. It's that, okay, finally I have the potential. I cleared up my mind. I have this great vision of how to move forward, and I understand it's very clear for my mind. And I think that you have this, like in all these swords, pick the one that's helpful for you. Our mind can be, with the swords, it's like our mind yields a lot of power, and it depends. We can use it to cut, or we can use it to set ourselves free. We can use it to hurt other people, or we can use it to protect and to hold space. Yeah, you do have that power. And it may sound very ridiculous at the time. So when you're doing like loving kindness practice or forgiveness practice or Tonglen practices, it sounds ridiculous when you first start doing it. Like, okay, here I am picturing, I don't know, somebody I don't care about and telling them I love you, I forgive you, or whatever, or somebody who actually hurt me, or it just sounds so artificial, But it is like once you do it a few times, holy fucking Christ, I'm like, it's really powerful practice. It's opening up the heart, it's opening up to compassion, it's opening ourselves up to whatever we find challenging, and allowing ourselves to be present with it and bring some kindness in the process. So you can use your mind, use a mantra, use I don't know, the idea that's empowering for you. You have it somewhere there in all these swords. Pick one and allow yourself to work with it, or only that one, and let the rest kind of like come and go. Maybe your idea right now is that I can do this, I'm strong enough. Find your own. You have it. You don't need mine. The mantra that works for you, to the one that's holding space for you and it's encouraging you. Wheel of Fortune with the Hierophant as your advice. Change. The Wheel of Fortune talks a lot about change, and it's the change that happens as okay, we've talked a lot about Buddhism. I don't talk so much about Buddhism generally in my readings, but this one seems to be quite relevant somehow. In Buddhism, they say that everything is impermanent. This is basically at the base of all the Buddhist teachings. And we gotta learn to not attach to our experiences, not attached to my thoughts, not attached to my idea of the self, not attached to my physical reality, not attached to anything, because everything comes and everything goes. And I think that this moment of this concept of impermanence actually sounds friendlier to you in moments when we are trapped in your mind, because it will tell you that nothing lasts forever, and this is not going to last forever either. So may rejoice yourself in impermanence in this very moment, and you learn to ride this wave. So what comes down will come up, right? So this 10 of Swords here puts you down just in order to free yourself, so you can make space for this Ace of Swords and Page of Swords that come to transform the way you think about yourself and about the world. And with Hierophant here, I think that you're learning a lot, you're connecting to divine knowledge here. The columns always talk about divine connection. And you're supported, you're on a throne, you have the crown, you have the whatever this is, the keys. You can, through this experience, empower yourself to teach. First of all, you need to teach yourself how to work with this, and you have the knowledge within yourself. Dig deep down beyond the layer of the mind and reach that magician, and then allow yourself, as you grow through this experience, to share it with the world and teach other people, first of all, about yourself and about who you are, and then maybe share with other people how you've been through your experience. The same way I just shared with you, for example, my story with the meditation retreat and the power of the mind. It's not that I'm a formal teacher and I'm teaching you about the world. It's me sharing my experience. Those of you that can relate to that, fine. You can learn some insights from there, or more, maybe even more than learning insights, more like taking confirmation for things that were already there, somewhere there. The sword, you have it somewhere here, and it shows up as a focus here, because you know to pick the one that works for you. And same way, like by sharing your experience, by having a deep understanding of what worked for you, you're solidifying your own experience, and you're solidifying this Ace of Swords as a new vision and concept. Even though we're not supposed to conceptualize too much, but sometimes it is important. We work through narratives. That's how the mind works. We are a storytelling kind. That's how we evolved as people. Storytelling was vital to our evolution of consciousness and evolution as a species, right? We learn through storytelling, and everything is a story. We actually experience things at an internal level and through a relative reality, very conditioned by our senses and our sense of self and our vision of the world and all that. But it's also an absolute reality out there, and we learn to align ourselves to that and experience the world for both. That's a long talk with the whole non-duality. But the point is that we need to own our narrative, and we also need to know that it's only a narrative. That's a biggie. That's a biggie to really get to the core of that. And I think that with this Wheel of Fortune here as your advice and the Hierophant, you're changing your narrative and you're able to own it and to share it, my dear. There are some structures falling down with the Saturn coming into Aquarius, and they need to fall down. It's good. It's good. And with the Hierophant, there's a new authority coming in. And the Eight of Cups and the Page of Pentacles is your future energy. The Moon, eights talk about emotions and about structure again. You're putting up new structures that can enable you to stand up for yourself. See, there's two eights here. The Eight of Swords is it feels like you're a prisoner, but the key with this Eight of Swords is that you feel into your body, and you don't trust your mind at this point. This lady's got this red skirt, bringing attention and awareness to her body. That's her way to set herself free. Her mind is pretty much telling her, I'm screwed here. I'm left out in the cold. I'm being the victim of this situation. But her body tells her, look, your tights, your binds are loose, and you have all these swords here that you can, if you navigate this carefully with a lot of mindfulness of the body, feeling into your environment, you can set yourself free quite easily, actually. So that's the trick here. Get into your body, mindfulness of the body, get into your senses, get into your intuition with the moon, and allow yourself to set yourself free and move away from the story that keeps you trapped, and also the emotions that keep you in one place, that keep you attached to a certain story. And Page of Pentacles, yes, coming into the body awareness, coming in. There's messages held in your body right now that helps you see the opportunity ahead, that helps you grow and connect to nature, connect to do body work, dance, somatic practices, breath work, this kind of stuff. It will really, really help you right now to release that emotional, remove yourself from a certain emotional climate that's not real anymore. As you live the narrative that you are, say, powerless in whatever sense, and you finally find that a particular story that's empowering you, this emotional baggage is not serving you anymore. It's because that's attached to that type of thinking. But this new type of thinking, this new idea that you choose forward to go with and to explore and to enables this huge change for you, then yeah, this is relevant. So you're moving forward. It's a action that happens from full awareness. And see, that's again the red coat. This person's doing this willingly, moving away and guided, going to a new story, going to discover, full of curiosity, a new way of being. And your body is the guide here. Trust your body, trust your intuition. Sweet. Let's go also. Oh, that was quick. The Angel Rasbar, the 27. Let's see what that's all about. Okay. So the poem from Rumi associated with this card says, I hope you see it. Tell me the truth, I asked, love. What are you? Love said. I am the recurring joy of living. Rumi. Okay. Divine contribution is offered to those who wish to contribute to the world. The great beloved sees what is in your heart, what is your wish to offer, and is saying yes. So you are being empowered. You're being empowered to serve, to assist, to offer genuine spiritual contribution to this planet, to become a sacred hand at work for the will of heaven. Maybe that's the idea, the great vision that's coming to you right now, that enables you to move from this feeling of powerlessness. Such is the capacity bestowed upon the soul that is wise and filled with love and therefore desiring to serve. So then do not doubt yourself, beloved. You have been blessed with this by the master. I don't know who that master is. You are your own master. To find the precious jewel of your own soul and claim it. Cast aside your doubts then. Perhaps this is not easy to do. Perhaps you look at the world, even your chosen field of endeavor, and already you hear so many voices speaking. These are like swords, also about communication. You may wonder if your own contribution would simply add noise to the cacophony. You may wonder if you can really help, if you have anything genuine to add, or if there is just too much noise anyway. You may hesitate and become fearful. Do not despair, my beloved. It is part of your divine destiny to add something of great value to the world. You see the Hierophant here. Something that has its place even amongst all that activity, something needed absolutely in the hearts of all. That precious gift is the true silence. The true silence is peace, it is the living experience of eternal love of the divine that asks nothing but to be received and gives of itself unconditionally. Four of Swords is silence. Okay, it's a long read. I'm just going to go to the guidance. Oh my god, this is a really long read. So this oracle comes to you with guidance. You are being guided deeper into your life purpose and divine destiny. Like a maturing adult who is ready to take on the mantle of greater responsibility, your soul is stepping up. You are going through a process of assuming more spiritual responsibility for the honest and empowered expression of your own essence, and through that your healing presence in the world is increasing. You are stepping up and forward on to your path. This is appropriate now. It will make you more visible, but that is as it should be. It is not about being worth more than another. It is about the utterly sensible use of a light that it not be dampened down by a shade, but instead be placed where it can cast its fullness so that others, still in darkness, may find their way more easily. This is efficient, intelligent, and sensible. Your success and growth is drenched in compassion and brings joy to the heart of the master, as another find their way, benefiting from the light of your being. So shine through, be humble, but do not be dismissive of your gifts. Allow others to find their way more easily because you choose to honor the power of the great silence that emanates through you evermore as your trust and surrender. I feel like this Hierophant is really about coming into your power and coming into your, like, whatever you are learning for this experience, you're learning about your true gifts and yourself, and you're sharing it with the world. This oracle brings special messages of reassurance that you are making progress and are indeed on the right path. Although it may not unfold exactly as you anticipate, it will indeed unfold. You are making a positive impact in the world more than you consciously realize, and you are asked therefore to continue. Do not give up, do not turn back, just continue. Take your steps, your journey. Take your steps, your journey, and know that the great master is aware of you and is sending the holy ones, including that wise ancient mother, Angel Rasba, to bring you the blessing of the true silence now. Let it clear and soothe your mind and heart and help you remember the peace that dwells within you. All is well. Okay, so silence is the key. Silence is the key for you right now. All right, my dear Aquarius, I hope this makes sense to you. If you benefited from this reading, please like, share, and subscribe so that this channel grows and it reaches more people out there in need of these messages. And have a great process here. Have a wonderful March, and I'll see you here soon. May our practice benefit all beings.